My name is Sophia. I'm 32. And until recently, I believed I was living the perfect life. A warm, quiet suburban home with my husband Matthew. Our whirlwind romance like something from a storybook. I can still see him so clearly on our first date. His eyes full of light. "You're different from anyone I've ever met," he said, and the sincerity in his voice made my heart leap. I had blushed, fumbling for words. Well, I hope that's a good thing. That day, something inside me clicked. A feeling I would carry with me for years. 3 years later, we were married, living in our little corner of paradise. The house smelled faintly of fresh flowers. The garden Matthew insisted on tending was always in bloom, and our life seemed seamless, effortless, perfect. But little cracks began to show, almost invisible at first. I felt exhausted constantly. Dizziness hit like sudden gusts of wind, and my energy slipped through my fingers. I shrugged it off, telling Matthew it was just stress. Then came the weight. Loss, sudden and frightening. My clothes hung loosely, as if someone else's life had been left behind in my body. The worry on Matthew's face grew with each day. "Babe, maybe we should see a doctor," he suggested gently one morning as I struggled to leave the bed. I nodded, too tired to argue, and we stepped into a relentless cycle of appointments. Each doctor gave the same hollow reassurances. "Mrs. Thompson, all your tests are normal." Matthew never left my side, his hand holding mine through every frustrated silence. "We'll figure this out," he said softly, and I clung to those words. Even as my body betrayed me, dinner at Matthew's parents' house became an ordeal I dreaded. Harper, his pristine and perfectly polished mother, greeted us with a sharp glance, her eyes scanning me as if I were a puzzle she could not solve. "Sophia dear," she said, "you're looking thin. Just under the weather, I suppose?" I forced a smile, careful not to reveal my rising panic. George, Matthew's father, barely looked up from his phone. "Hope it's nothing serious," he muttered. Indifferent. Only Amelia, Matthew's younger sister, showed real concern. "Have you seen a specialist?" she asked over dessert. I nodded, poking at my food. "Several, but no one can figure it out." Then I noticed it, the subtle, fleeting looks Matthew exchanged with his family, the tension in the room thick and oppressive. Harper's voice cut through the uneasy silence, saccharine and sharp. "I'm sure it's nothing a little diet and exercise won't fix. Have you tried yoga, dear?" I bit my tongue, resisting the urge to snap, and Matthew squeezed my hand under the table, but the warmth was gone. On the drive home, I pressed my forehead to the glass, feeling the weight of dread settle in my chest. "You okay?" Matthew asked, his eyes on the road. "Just tired," I lied, days blurred together, each one heavier than the last. My world shrank to the bedroom, the walls of our home feeling like iron bars. Matthew became distant, his absences stretching longer. "Work's late," he would say. "Mom needs help." Too exhausted to argue, I let it slide. One afternoon, Harper appeared unannounced, her perfume suffocating. "Sophia dear," she said, voice dripping with sweetness, "don't you think it's time to pull yourself together?" My jaw went slack as she examined her manicure. "This illness of yours seems convenient, doesn't it?" I stared at her, disbelief freezing me. "Are you suggesting I'm faking it?" She shrugged, sly smile in place. "If the shoe fits." After she left, I lay on the bed, heart pounding, anger and humiliation mingling into a bitter taste. Matthew's voice downstairs shattered what little calm I had. "I can't keep doing this," he hissed, low and tense. "She's always sick. It's becoming a burden." My heart cracked into pieces. Was I nothing more than a burden to him? That evening, Hannah, my kind neighbor, knocked on the door, her smile a beacon. "I thought you could use some company," she said, groceries in hand. Hannah became my lifeline, helping me run errands, keeping me grounded. One day, she mentioned her brother, Anthony, a toxicologist. Perhaps he could look into my case, Dr. Anthony Chen was unlike any doctor I had met. Calm, serious, and kind, he listened to every detail of my symptoms. "Sophia," he said after reviewing my notes, "I'd like to run some comprehensive tests. I have a suspicion Days later, his call came. Hannah drove me there, gripping my hand as my chest tightened. When Dr. Chen walked in, his expression was grim. "Sophia," he said quietly, "your tests show high levels of arsenic in your system." My world tilted. "Arsenic? But how?" His voice softened. "It appears you've been systematically poisoned." My knees nearly buckled, the floor seeming to vanish. The tension at dinners, Matthew's distance, his family's behavior, it all fell into place. My perfect life had been a lie. Shock and pain roared through me. But beneath them, a spark ignited anger. I wasn't going to sit idly by. I began searching the house whenever Matthew was away, rifling through drawers, cabinets, corners of every room. The garage became my sanctuary for discovery, and there, hidden behind paint cans, was a stash of arsenic-based pesticide. My hand shook as I lifted one bottle. This was real. This was happening. I called Hannah, voice trembling. Together, we set up hidden cameras around the house. She showed me how to access the feeds on my phone, and I watched, days passing in silent observation. Then I saw it. Matthew in the kitchen, carefully measuring something into my evening tea. My chest tightened, my world crumbling. That night, I confronted him, my phone secretly recording. "Matthew," I began, voice steady despite the storm inside me. "What have you been putting in my food?" His eyes widened, panic overtaking him. "What are you talking about?" he stammered. "Don't lie," I said firmly. "I know about the arsenic." He crumpled to his knees, sobbing. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They made me do it." "Who?" I spat, disgusted. "Your family." He wept. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. We were just going to make you seem unstable, then divorce you, and no one would question it." Repulsed, I grabbed my pre-packed bag and fled to Hannah's house, where she held me as I broke down. "We have the evidence now," she reassured me. "They can't hurt you anymore." But they weren't done. My phone exploded with messages, mutual friends, screenshots, posts. Matthew's family launched a full-scale smear campaign. Harper wrote, "Sophia has always been unstable. We tried to help her, but she refused treatment and ran away. We're all so worried." I felt sick, my chest tight with disbelief. "They won't get away with this," Hannah said, squeezing my hand. My resolve hardened. They had messed with the wrong woman. Months passed as I rebuilt my life. Hannah's spare room became a sanctuary, a place to heal. The fog of illness lifted, revealing a strength I had never known. "You're looking better every day," Hannah remarked one morning. I smiled genuinely for the first time in years. "I feel better. I feel like me again, with newfound energy." I sought purpose at the local community center. During my interview, the director shook my hand. "We'd love to have you on board. Your experience can really help our abuse survivors." It felt right, turning pain into purpose. Unfinished business remained. One evening, Dr. Chen arrived at Hannah's house, determination in his eyes. "Sophia," he said, "the pesticide Matthew used is illegal. George's company could be held accountable." Together, we sent an anonymous tip to the EPA. Weeks later, news broke. A massive investigation into George's company, environmental violations on a scale never seen before. CEO George Thompson arrested. Frozen assets, ruined reputations, mounting charges. Hannah and I sat in stunned silence, watching justice unfold. "They're finally getting what they deserve," she whispered. Relief, closure, and a strange calm swirled inside me. Matthew, now desperate, turned to gambling, owing money to dangerous people. Harper suffered a stress-induced stroke. I felt no satisfaction, only the knowledge that they were reaping the consequences of their own actions. One day, my phone buzzed with an unexpected name: Amelia. Her voice cracked. "Sophia, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Can we talk?" I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "Amelia, I appreciate the apology, but I can't let any of you back into my life. I hope you understand." There was a pause. "I do," she said quietly. "Take care, Sophia." A week later, the final blow came. Matthew had been hospitalized after a random attack. No one believed it was random, probably those loan sharks Hanahem Karma said, well, I replied with a faint nod. The chapter of my life with Matthew and his family was finally closed. A year later, I stood before a group of women at the domestic abbey, my voice steady and strong. Ich know it feels hopeless now, I said, meeting their eyes, but you're stronger than you can rebuild, you can thrive. As I spoke, I saw flickers of hope in their faces, some tearful, others determined. It hit me then, the Sophia who had lived in that perfect illusion was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, wiser, and fiercely committed to helping others find their way out of the darkness. Remember, I said, my voice filled with conviction, your story doesn't end with them, it begins when you choose yourself. As the session ended, the women filed out. Some paused to hug me, others whispered their thanks. A sense of peace washed over me. The road had been long and painful, but I had made it. Now I was helping others find their way to now. I ask you, if you were in Sophia's position, would you have accepted Amelia's apology and attempt at reconciliation, or do you think Sophia made the right choice in cutting off all contact with Madhu's family, even those who claimed ignorance?